Going back live to Gidi Grinstein, former peace negotiator under former Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and we are going to now talk more about what's going on in the Golan as we're seeing from our report accusations from Syrian media that the IDF has violated that buffer zone. Could you explain a little bit more where that is and what they're implying?
So at the end of the 1973 Yom Kippur War, there were Israeli forces within Syria. In the negotiations following the war in May 1974, Israel and Syria reached basically a disengagement agreement in which a buffer zone was created between the Israeli forces and the Syrian forces in order to prevent escalation and to prevent an attack, the kind of which surprised Israel in October 1973, October 6, 1973. That buffer zone, which is significantly large. I think it's probably half of the size of the Golan Heights that we hold today. That buffer zone, yes, if you look at the map. So that buffer zone, effectively, the government of Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu said, the agreement, the separation agreement, the forced separation agreement of 1974 is no longer in force. But we have to remember, this is Syrian territory. And when Israel moves into the buffer zone, it basically takes over Syrian territory. So this is probably what the most important element for your viewership to remember. This buffer zone is within Syria. So when international states say that Israel is basically taking over Syrian territory, that's what they mean. We also have to remember that I believe, with the exception of the United States, no other country has recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. So now Israel is basically creating another disputed territory deeper into Syria. That will be the diplomatic challenge of the front over there. I do want to say about Gaza. We heard a very interesting statement today from Defense Minister Katz, which referred to the fact that the future of Gaza is like the West Bank. And I think that this is a very important statement for everybody to follow. And you have heard here, your viewership on i24 News for weeks, saying that the only possible long-term outcome for Gaza is redividing Gaza into Area A and B, like in the West Bank, without Area C. And Area B will be security controlled by Israel. Area A, basically under the responsibility of the Palestinian Authority. And therefore, that will allow the international force, which will probably be UAE-led, United Arab Emirates-led, to come into Gaza and to begin the process of reconstruction and also to ensure security. So I believe that Minister Katz's statement today is an extremely important signal in terms of the progression of the thinking within the Israeli government regarding Gaza, because that's sort of the possible compromise between Israel's position and Hamas positions. Israel says we have to hold to the security perimeter in Gaza in order to ensure security. Hamas wants Israel out. The way to compromise between those two things is over the axis of time, over time. So basically, when you say that Area A and Area B in Gaza, you are saying that in the future, Gaza will be Palestinian. That's why it's very important, the fact that there's no Area C in Gaza, because according to the Oslo Accords, Area C will be negotiated on permanent status. I think this is an extremely important development to the extent that it actually represents evolution of the thinking in the Israeli government ahead of a comprehensive deal to end the war, to move into the day after and into a political horizon. And potentially down the road, there could be normalization with Saudi here. So I think it's good news.
So it is a road to something positive. And again, we've all been scratching our heads about a day after plan for more than a year. So at least there is some semblance of at least a discussion.
There's much more to be said about that, but I think now the door is open.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to continue on that the next time. Thank you very much, Gidi Grinstein, former peace negotiator.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, as always.